Hello everyone, I'm just going to do a basic colour theory video. This is going to be a separate video from the lesson plans because I feel we need a little bit more time on the colour theory, plus you can just go back and look at this one just for the colour theory tips and techniques without getting it confused with the umbrellas and the acrylic lessons. So this is just going to be colour theory. Okay, so we've got red, yellow and blue, which are your basic primary colours. I've got a crimson red, a cadmium yellow, medium hue and ultramarine blue. These are different makes and different, but they're still the same. This is a gouache, this is a white one, and we've got a black one, and a flat brush because it's quite wide. You can kind of squeeze it to a point if you need a flat edge, or you can use it widthwise. So these are our 5 colours that we're going to be using. Let's put these over here. So basic colour theory starts with your primary colours, and your primary colours are red, yellow and blue. So from these colours you get everything else from these colours. Okay, so we know that if we mix red and yellow together it makes orange. So the more red you use, the darker the orange. The more yellow you use, the lighter the orange. So you can see on here I've got a mixture of, I mixed this straight onto the paper. So I put yellow down first, which was the lightest colour, and then I put red on top and I painted it. So some I've got different tones, but you can see they're still orange, but they're just different tones of orange depending on how much you use. So red and yellow makes orange. Okay, so blue and yellow, which are still your primary colours, they make green. So same thing here, is the lighter the more yellow, the different shades of green that you'll get. Darker, more blue, lighter, more yellow. So that's them. And then red and blue makes purple. Okay, so depending on how much you use, again depends on the shades of purple that you're going to get. Okay, so if you use red, yellow and blue all together, which are all 3 of your primary colours, you will get brown. So you can get a different shade of brown. I've lost my other brown sheet. Where's it gone? Oh, it's here. Okay, so this has got more red in it, more green in it. It's got different tones in it. That's got more red in it, but that's still a brown, even though that's green. So that depends on how much blue. If you're ever going to make a brown up and you want to make browns for a tree, you always make blue and yellow first. So you will always make your green. That is the rule. I don't know why it works that way, but it just does. So yellow and blue makes green. So you make that green up first, and once you've got your green, then you add red, and the red will then make your brown. Okay, so but your browns, you can get obviously different hues, different shades depending on what you're going to use. So let's do that. Okay, so that's just your basic colours. So you know that your primary colours, they always work with each other. So you also have your complementary colours, and your complementary colours are opposite on the colour wheel. So this is a colour wheel. So if you don't know how to use a colour wheel, it looks a bit confusing and you think, oh, too much on it, I don't know how to do it, I don't understand it. So I always start with red or yellow at the top, just because it makes it easier for me to be able to see what I'm doing. So these are the same family. So red, red, orange, orange. So on your main colour wheel, you'll have red, yellow and blue. So these were your 3 primary colours. So red, yellow and blue, and then in between you have, between red and yellow, the more red that you use, the nearer red it will go, and the more yellow you use, the nearer yellow it will go. So you have red, orange, as it has more red in it. You have orange, so red, orange and yellow, with more yellow or more orange, depending on which way. So the same here is, you've got yellow and blue. So we know that yellow and blue makes green. So if you want it more lighter, you add more yellow. If you want it darker, you add more blue. So this is more of a cyan colour. And then you've got blue and red makes purple. So if you add more red, you're going to get more red shade. If you're going to add blue, you're going to get more blue shade. So these are all in their colour families. So anything you paint, if you paint something that's red, orange and yellow, it's going to really go well together, because you're going to use the colours that are in the same family. So they're going to be very similar. So if you do some blue and some greens for like some water, some turquoises, these will all go well together because they're part of the same family. They're next to each other on the colour wheel, which are called analogous colours. So they're next to each other, and obviously the same with the blues and the purples. So these are the colours, and these show you the colours, and also they show you what happens if you add red. So if we start with red and orange, so it actually shows you through this window. So we know that red and yellow makes orange, but if you add a little bit more red, it's going to go more of a darker orange. So, or if you add yellow, it's going to go lighter. If you add blue, you get a green, because you've got more colour in it. And if you add white, so these will show you, and black, sorry. So these show you that, oh okay, I'm going to use green. Let's have a look, green. So what happens if I add green and it's complementary colour? It goes like a brown colour. Okay, so green and yellow and blue. So it shows you blue and white. So blue and white is going to go lighter, but it shows you how much and darker, depending on if you're adding what colours, and you can turn it around to whatever colours you want, and it shows you, you get an idea of the shades. And on the back, this is a large one, I'm not sure if they're the same, I have got a smaller one somewhere. It also shows you your complementary colours, okay? So every colour has got its own complementary colour. So let's start with red at the top, because I just think red's easier to start with red. I don't get confused. Okay, red. Here we are, red. Okay, so on the colour wheel, your 3 primary colours is red, yellow and blue. So when you put 3 primary together, you get grey or brown. So you know already that them 3 colours are going to make your water dirty and give you brown water. So it's also your shadow colour. So if you want to tone a colour down, you add the complementary colour. So red and green, okay, so they are complementary colours of each other. They're opposite each other on the colour wheel. So green is made of blue and yellow, so the opposite colour is red, and that's the missing primary colour to make brown or grey. So when you put your 3 colours together and it makes brown, that is your complementary colour. So you've got 2 colours there, red and yellow, yellow and blue, and your red. So them 3 colours are your complementary colours, and they tone all your colours down. So when you have something that's bright red like this, not everything is bright red. Sometimes you want to tone it down. It doesn't, everything in the world is not pillar box red. So you might paint the top of it pillar box red, but the sides and the outside and the bits nearest your shadow areas, you may want to tone down. So if you want to tone this red down in your red pillar box, you would add some green. So you would add some green to that red, okay, which will tone your colours down. So I've got a little demonstration here. So you imagine that your pillar box is red. So you may want to add some light. So tint, tone and shade. So tint, tone and shade, you should remember every time you use colour. So you start off with your colour, so your primary colour, whether it's red, yellow or blue, doesn't matter. And your tint. So if you want to tint a colour, it means you add white to it. And the more white you add, the lighter it will go. Once you add white to a colour, you can't take that colour back. So you can't ever make this red back to the original red again once you've added white to it, because it changes the hue of the colour. So it won't be bright pillar box red anymore. It's going to be a shade of pink because you've added a white to it. So you add white to tint a colour down. And if you want to tone a colour down, so this is back to our red pillar box, and you want to add shadows and tone the colour down so it's not so red, you add grey. So this is your, or brown, so this is your complementary colour, which is opposite on the colour wheel. And by adding green to red, we've used all three primary colours, okay? So you would add that to tone it down. If you want to shade a colour, so you want to add a shadow, you will add black. So depending on how much black you use, depends on how dark your shadow is. So here, on the back to the colour wheel, you've got tint, tone and shade. So it shows you what you'll use. And it shows you here, depending on how much tint, tone and shade, you now know tint is white, tone is grey, and black is shade. So these are all very good examples of all the colour ranges that you can achieve. So I'm not going to go into triads and other colours. I'm just going to go into the primary colours, which is the red, yellow and blue, because it gets too confusing. So we'll just use them colours at the moment. But I wanted to show you how that works, because a lot of people don't actually know how it works and what they need to do to achieve the results or what they're looking at, because there's so much on it and it's too confusing. And it says here analogous colours, so they're adjacent to each other on the colour wheel. So they're the ones that are next to each other and they're part of the same colour family. So the tint, tone and shade. So I'm just going to go into this sheet. So I always try and do a key. If I'm going to draw something or paint something, I like to have a key to show me what colours I've used. So with this, I started off with orange underneath, which was so I used red and I used yellow, which made orange. Okay, so I started off with orange. I added white, that's meant to be white. I added white and black. Okay, so I tinted it and I shaded it. Okay, so going back to the tint, tone and shade sheet, I tinted it white and I also shaded it in the black. I didn't do the complementary colour in the middle, but I just did these two. So by adding white, started off with our orange in the middle, okay, and I added white. So I added white again and again and again. So I added 3 or 4 lots of white to get different shades. Okay, so this is more like skin tone colours. but without the blue. When I added black, it was darker and darker. It's still black, but it was more of a brown colour as it got darker. So let's go to here. So here I had blue and yellow, which made orange. Okay, so I added white, similar to the last one. I added white to make it lighter. So I added blue, which is the other complementary colour, which is the three complementary colours, red, yellow and blue. So I added a speck, a tiny, tiny speck of blue, which changed the shade. So it's now made it slightly browner, which is good for skin tones. And because it's made it slightly browner, you can see you could use that if you was doing highlights and shadows. So my hand, you know, I've got some shadows here and I've got some shadows underneath here and inside my fingers and inside my hand. You may want to do a darker shade of what you've already got. So by adding a speck of blue, it's made it a brown colour. So you can get different hues and different shades of them colours. So red and white makes a pink. So I added more white and it makes it a lighter pink and a lighter pink. So that's a good little swatch. So going back to here, I did red and yellow, which is orange, and then I added black. So if you see that, it's more of a orangey brown kind of colour. And then I added more black, and it's a lot darker. It's nearer black now than it is brown. So red and black straight away, you get that kind of colour. So it's a bit like a maroony colour. And this was black. And then on top of that black, I then added white, which gives it a purpley colour. So that's really good. It's really good to look at them and see how can I make them colours and what are they going to turn into. Okay, so I did this. I don't know if I can fit this all in. I think I can. So this is tint, tone and shade again. So I used red and I used black and white. So I know this box is 3D and this is where the light's coming from the top. So you would have yellow in it as well as, but this is just for the demonstration, just to show. So I used one colour, which was red, one primary colour. So it's very flat. There's no life into it. It doesn't look very 3D, but it was just to show the different shades really. So the top, I added white to the top just to make it lighter, and I put some more red in this to show that it was actually red and not pink. I added black because I knew the inside of the box at the back would have no light at all, so it would be the darkest place. So I added the black inside here and at the side, depending on if it was blocked here and the sun wasn't getting to here, this would be quite dark this side. So that was just a good example to show you using the same colours but white and black. Okay, so this is another little demo. I'm full of demos and colour swatches today. So I just wanted to go through browns and greens because greens are really important, and you do trees, do water, there's lots of things that you need natural looking colours for, and these here are colours that come straight out the tube. So bright red, bright yellow, bright greens. So these greens here came straight out the tube and they're their own colours. And I look at them as clown colours because I think nothing's bright red, bright yellow or bright blue. Everything's toned down. If I can show you some, say for instance blues, I'm just going to get some blue things together and just show you what blue things look like, okay, when you put them together. So I've got blue, blue, I've got part of a diary that's blue, I've got paint here which is blue, What else can I see? There's blue. Anything else? Not within reach. So we have all these things that are blue, okay? And none of them are bright blue. None of them are the blue that comes out the tube, okay? So the blue that comes out the tube was very similar to this blue, okay? Not everything is the same colour blue or the same shade of blue. Some have got a bit of white in them. That's quite light as well, that's blue. This is blue. So they're all very different shades. Okay, so that's why you have to tint, tone and shade everything within its colour range, because you don't want it to look like clown colours. And clown colours to me come straight out the tube. They're the brightest pigment that you can get is straight out the tube, okay? So when you're doing trees, blue and yellow makes green, but you might not want that green that comes out the tube, so you have to add more yellow. So if you add more yellow, the lighter it becomes. If you add red, you get your brown huey colours, because you've used your 3 primary colours that make brown. But you have to make green first, then add the red. If you add more blue, you get more of a grey, bluey colour. And if you add yellow to that bluey colour, you get these shades. So there's in that little chart, there's quite a lot of different blues, browns, greens that will help you when you do your paint your trees and your bushes and your grass. It's a lot of combinations of lots of different colours depending on where the light's coming from. So if you've got loads of grass and loads of long grasses, the tops might only be a light colour and the light might be shining through the tops of the grasses. So you might use these ones, but near the bottom where it's shady, you might need these ones. Dark greens and some dark browns, but not clown colours. So none of your grasses are going to look like these colours that come straight out the tubes at all. So we don't use these colours at the tubes. You only use them straight away when you need a highlight. So you might want a highlight for something, and these colours then will become your brightest red, and your brightest yellow and your brightest blue will be the little specks and the little highlights that will then bring that to life. So all your darker blues will come up. You might have 10 shades of blue on top of each other, and then your bright blue out the tube will be your cherry on the top and be your icing on the cake that brings your whole painting to life. And this is just another little demo of skin tones, really. So red, yellow and brown and white. And this is a little thing I found that says red, yellow, brown and white. That's how to mix your skin tones right. So, oh, sorry, I moved you. Are we still there? I think we are. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so add yellow and blue first. So yellow and blue makes green. And then once you have your green, you then add your reds to make browns. So all of these shades were all made up using them colours. So add a bit more red. You can see that's more reddy. This one's more browny. And some of these are a bit more pinky. So you may have more white, you may have more brown. You need to do some colour charts just to practice your skin tones, because you're going to use skin tones for so many things. And people think that skin tones are hard, you know, but they're still the same colours. You can add a speck of blue in it to make it a bit more darker, a bit more reddier. So this is a really good example of how to do skin tones. Right, I just wanted to show you also that when you paint something, it depends on what colour your background is as to what it looks like. So you may paint a colour, and you may paint that blue at the top there, and you might think, oh, I didn't want it to look like that. It doesn't look like that when I mixed it up. But depending on your background, these 3 colours are different backgrounds to show how they can look on different sheets. So this first row here is blue, yellow and green backgrounds, okay, but they look completely different. They look different colours. Look how red that looks because it's on a yellow background against the blue background, so it looks completely different, you know. And you'll find that the colours that you thought you knew what they looked like actually look completely different. So this red, look how bright this red is, and the white, so you've got white, white and white. They're exactly the same, but they're just on different backgrounds, and they really change how they look. This looks blue, and here it's like a bluey green colour, and it looks green on here. So have a practice with all your colours. These are all acrylics as well. Have a practice with all your colours so you can get to see how they all look in relationship to each other, because they look completely different. So don't think you've mixed it up wrong. Just look at the colours that it's next to and the colours that you're painting on top of, because yellow will never be as bright on any colour except white. So it will only stay bright yellow if you paint white underneath it or it's on white paper. So here, this is pure yellow against white. It's always going to be the brightest colour you're going to get against the underneath white. It won't paint over any colour. It'll always be dull or green. It will always have a dark hue to it. So if you want to keep your yellows bright, paint straight onto white paper, or paint white first before you paint on anything else. So that's an easy thing to remember. Hello, hello, hello. I'm back again. I'm just checking my where I am. Okay, so because the colour theory previous video was quite long, I'm now going to do back to brush strokes. So I just wanted to show you back to red, yellow, blue, white and black that we've got. Okay, so you can see. So I'm going to put some here. I can't see where. I'll put it here. Right, so we've got red, crimson red, cadmium yellow, medium hue. There's different hues for cadmiums because they're the brightest pigments, the cadmiums. Ultramarine blue, this is your standard blue. I use this as a standard blue. There are lots of other blues you can use, but I always use this as my standard blue. White gouache. Now I always put double the amount of white out because I always use more white than I do anything else. So to me it's easier. You know you're going to use a lot of it up, so you're probably not going to use so much black up, but okay. Okay. Just drop that straight in there. Right. Okay, so let's move this over so you can see. Okay, so whenever I use colours and I put them on a palette, I always use them in their wells, or I don't ever mix them in their colours. I always pull them out to mix them. Right, hello, I'm back again. Sorry, I had to. This is what happens when you have a Pandora bracelet with charms on it and you drag it through the paint. I just had to wash it off. I'm such an idiot. Right, okay. Okay, so I'm going back to, right, so I always use my colours. So if I'm going to mix some colours, then I will drag a piece of paint out to where I want it to mix it. Okay, so you don't contaminate your colours. So I want to make orange, so I'm just going to wash my brush, dry it on a rag. I've got a rag here, you can't really see it, but it's here. Okay, so now I want orange, so I'm going to put some yellow in there and mix it in here. Okay, so here's my orange. Okay, so if I'm just saying I'm going to paint an orange, so I'm going to paint an orange, so that's going to be my orange. A little bit more red because I want to make it a bit more orange this side. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow because I want to make the top a bit brighter. Okay. And a bit more darker orange down here. Okay. Now if I want to add a shadow to that, I'll just add a little speck of blue. It's like the smallest amount. You see it on the corner of the brush? It's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Okay. So, because it goes a long way and it's very dark, you don't want to ruin your painting. So, I'm going to add a bit of shadow here on there. So you can see it's a bit greeny looking. Okay. So, and then I'm going to tint it with a bit of white. Okay, so I've got another speck of white on the top there. So now I have white on this side of my brush and I have dark on that side of my brush. So I'll tone a bit here, a little bit of highlight. And I've got a bit of blue on that speck, so there's quite a few colours on there. So I can use that side and I can also use this side. So this side is going to give me my darks over here. This is going to give me my lights because I have my brush loaded twice. Okay. I'm going to go back to some orange. Okay. Until I get the colour that I want. It's quite a bright colour that, isn't it? Let's put some more yellow with it. A bit more yellow. So the yellow takes quite a lot. Okay. It's a bit better. Okay, so use that. Come around here. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to put some white around this side, just because it's a bit of shadow colour, highlight colour. So I just wanted to just give you a little demonstration of how you can use these colours on your brush. Just need a little bit more blue that side, I think. Have a little speck. Pick up some orange. Okay. So I'm kind of blending these together, these colours, you can see. So now we have two tones to this. Okay, so we have the light tones and the dark tones. So this is good practice to practice getting your shades right and your tones right. So let's do like a leaf shape. Okay, let's mix some green. So I'm going to take some blue and some yellow. So I'm not mixing it with my colours, but I'm mixing it here, which is where I'm going to use where I want to take them from. Okay, and that's quite dark, so I think I want some more yellow, so I'm going to add some more yellow to it. Take a piece of yellow out and mix it in with the green. Right, so I'm going to do a leaf shape. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue, a little speck of blue on that side. Okay, and a bit more yellow on this side. So I feel like I've got a two-tone colour then. Alright, so I'm going to do a leaf shape. So I'm That's on that dark side's on that edge, and I'm going to flip my brush over and just keep flipping backwards and forwards. So you can create a two-tone leaf shape quite easily. This is a very big brush. I'll be using a smaller brush than this. Okay, so put a little speck of blue, and then I think I'm going to put some line through. Okay. So I'm going to show you, if you tone it, what it looks like if you tone it. Okay, so we're going to add some white to it now. So I'm going to tone it kind of in the middle, I think. So we've now changed the tone of the green. Okay, so the tone of the green has now got white in it, so that makes it a lot lighter. So if we do a green, let's do a green apple. Okay, so I've got blue and green together. Okay, so we get a different shade of green. Okay, so this is my green. Okay, my apple. Now it looks a bit more yellow than green, so I think, oh, actually I need it to be more of a green colour. So add some more green at the base. So let's have a try a bit. Let's tone, let's put some white on and see how we look. So that's quite a nice green. So that's quite a light green. Okay, I might add some more yellow because I think it needs to be a bit more yellowy. Okay, that's quite looking quite good. That's more like a yellow green now. There we are, a bit more white. So just a little bit of white to there. That's where the highlight is. Okay. And okay, a bit more, we'll have a little bit more blue. Let's get a bit more blue to the bottom. Right, a bit more blue. That's it. So we can now add this to the bottom. There you go. So if you wanted a shadow colour, you would add black. So we'll add a little bit of black to the bottom. I don't want to add too much because we'll lose the yellow otherwise. So let's just wipe our brush off. Right. Okay, so that's looking quite a good little colour. So I want to put a little stalk in it, I think. So I'm just going to add a little shape here. It's a bit lighter. Add this bit here. I'm just going to add, I can blend it in. A bit more yellow. Okay. So let's add a little bit. I'll just put a stalk in here. Okay. So this is really lightened up now just by using blue and yellow. Okay, so if you wanted to do like a proper shadow colour underneath it, we'll use a bit of black and a bit of green. Make it. Okay, so the light's coming from here. Just paint over that bit, do a shadow. I'll just do it a bit darker because I've painted over this already. Okay. had to paint over that when it's still wet. It's a bit hard to do shadows when it's still wet, but there you go. That gives you an apple and an orange. Okay, so just using them colours, and it's good to just have a practice and see what colours make what and how you can do them, how you can make them look like you want them to. Let me just get a, this is not the best brush to use, I'm going to use a mop brush. Okay. So I have a mop brush here which is a teardrop shaped brush, okay? So this is like a Chinese style brush. Well, I bought these in a little pack of 3, so I've got some big ones here, a little one, a very big one, and a smaller one. So this will be good to show you how you can do leaves in a different shape. So we'll pull out some blue and pull out some more yellow. Okay, and I'm going to show you with this shape brush you can get leaf shapes. There's still a bit of blue on that. You can twist it, get some water. There's not much of that left now. Put a bit of white in it. That's better. Right. So sometimes it's good, it does matter what brush shape you use. See, round brushes are really good for doing leaves. I always wash my brushes because they end up in a mess otherwise if you don't. And then once they're dried to the brush and once they're stuck to the brush, you can't get it off, especially with acrylic. Yeah, so you should always wash your brushes off. Let's turn this over and let's work on this side in this corner here. Right, what else have I got here? I've got a, I'm not sure what this is, a size 12. This is quite a thick brush, this one, so we can use this one as well. So let's get some, let's do blue and white just because that's all I've got left here really, but it's a good show you some good techniques. So this is good if you want to paint little flowers. I'll put a bit red in that as well. So you can do your petals this way. Some more red and some more blue. Put some centres in the middle. Let's do some more up here. These will be nice when they're dry. So you can just top off the brush on tiptoes. You can make so many colours with the colours that you have. There's so many colour combinations that you can use. So say this side was the dark side. It's a dark flower and it's in a shade. Red and blue makes purple, so we can add a bit of dark on this side. Okay, so this is going to be our flower here. Okay, so it's quite dark. We'll add a bit of red on its own and it'll blend in with the paper while we're doing it. A bit of blue. Alright, so that's it. So say we want the other side, we want light because it's, so we're going to add some white. a little bit more red. So it's a bit pinkier. Okay, and then we can add some white on this side. And on the top, I think. It's probably better to see it like that with more white on the camera, because I know that it's against the white paper, so you can't always see. So just by doing that, just by using them two colours and some white, you've got a different tone. So you have your dark tones and your light tones, which is really good. And I think you're just going to have to practice using all these colours. Do some colour charts, see what comes out, what you like. Okay, so alright, that's it for now. I will add another part to this, skin tones, but I'm just going to leave it here for now because the video is probably really long. It's going to be really long when it's finished. Okay, so yeah, this is the colour theory for now. Thank you.